Hey folks, John here, We'll Take Reforge. Welcome back. If it's your first time here, welcome. What's going on today? I'm down here in the workshop. It's one of my rare days off, and I got a pretty cool project that I've been wanting to do for a while. So what I got here to start is it's kind of hard to see, but these are all the Damascus offcuts from the ring hilt sword project and any other Damascus I've made over the last few months. They've been soaking in a bath of muriatic acid for about a week now to dissolve the scale. So let's pour them out and see what we got. What I want to make is something called fossil Damascus, and from what I understand of the process, basically you take all your scraps and offcuts, you pack them in a canister, fill it full of powdered steel, and you make a canister billet, and it's got a pretty cool looking pattern. So, you know, like I said, these have been in the muriatic acid for a week or so to get all the crap and scale off them. I'm going to clean them off with some degreaser to get this black kind of film off of them, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know if this is actually going to work. I've never done it before, but let's see what happens. Alrighty, so I got a surface conditioning belt on the grinder. I got my pieces right here. They've been hit with some WD-40 and degreased and all that. We're just going to gently clean these up a little bit and then go ahead and get them thrown in our can. I've already got the bottom welded on. Now, I'm actually using stainless steel tubing for the can, and this stuff is amazing. It comes off so easy. This is the only way I'll ever do canister again, so that's pretty sweet. But let's get this baby made. So I'm starting to try to get these things cleaned up to go in the can, and there's just too many like little nooks and crannies that are full of crap. So I was hoping to not have to grind all these pieces clean and smooth because I think we're going to lose a good bit of material, but it's looking like that's what's going to need to happen. This better work because that took freaking forever. Next thing, after grinding these clean, you know, you got to dunk them in the water to keep them cool, and they like to rust, so I've been hitting them with some WD-40. We'll degrease them, wipe them off, throw them in the can, powder steel that baby up, and get it in the fire. Got my trusty 1084 powdered steel, good to go. Basically, we just need to fill in all that space and forge weld it into a solid block, and hopefully we'll have something with a cool pattern. So, if you've never done canister, it's pretty straightforward. You know, you just kind of spoon the powdered steel in there. Biggest thing is you need to vibrate it to get the powdered steel to settle to the bottom and get all the gapping out. I've had the best luck just hitting it with a hammer. There's all kinds of creative ways to vibrate the steel to the bottom out there, but like I said, I've had the best luck just hitting it with a hammer. Nothing to it, really. Alrighty, we got our can packed up, welded up. It's looking pretty good. Everything needs to be nice and airtight. You don't want any air getting in there or any of the powdered steel coming out when it goes into the forge. So, biggest thing in the canister is not rushing the soak. So I'm going to soak this about 20 minutes at welding heat to make sure every little piece of steel in there is at welding heat and ready to fuse before we go to the press. The way I like to weld up my canisters, I'm going to go ahead and tell you now so I'm not worried about trying to talk over the press while I'm doing it. But I'll have my big flat dies in here. I like to upset it once from the top, lay it on the side, turn it, and just give it a few good stiff presses, get everything consolidated. A lot of people use squaring dies, and those are great too, but this is what works for me. Alrighty, we got that guy in the fire. We're going to bring it up to temp nice and slow, and like I said, once we're actually at welding heat, we'll give it a good soak, about 5 minutes per side. Should be good to go. So I'm actually using a pair of sunglasses over the lens of the camera to help you see in the forge a little better. But it's starting to bubble, so that means we're reaching welding heat, so now we'll start the soak. Give it 5 minutes per side, should be good to go. Alrighty, well, this was not supposed to happen. It looks like the stainless steel tubing in the canister actually melted, which that's never happened to me before, but that appears to be what happened. And once the canister was gone, the inside was exposed to oxygen, and now we got whatever in the world this is. So that ain't no good at all. But luckily, I have a few left over. We're gonna pack another small can because I really wanna see this through. What's that saying? False bravado gets you most of the way, stupidity gets you the rest. So what I'm going to do differently, what I think screwed me was I wasn't really paying much attention to the atmosphere in the forge and the fuel air mix and all that, and I think the fire was just too oxidizing. You know, if you let a lot more air in, you get a lot more heat, and that's what was my main concern, but I think there was just too much oxygen present. So I'm going to try to run a more reducing fire or a more rich flame, and we'll see if we can make this happen. So like I said, what I'm doing differently, you see all that kind of lazy dragon's breath coming out of the front of the forge. What that is uncombusted fuel, so we're running a more rich atmosphere. It's not as oxidizing as it was before. You know, an oxidizing fire is a hotter fire, but we can definitely reach welding heat like this. We might have something, boys and girls. Can seems to be holding up. It's not burning like it did before. Looks like we got some solid matter in there. Like I said with the stainless, it really doesn't like to stick to the contents of the can. It's already starting to come off, so extracting the billet should be pretty easy when the time comes. So this is after only 2 passes with the press, and it's looking really stinking good, actually. The can's coming right off. I'm gonna let that guy cool and take a grinder to it, forge it out into a billet, and hopefully we got a cool pattern. While that's cooling off, I'm taking this little lady out. Weather's pretty nice today, so I'm sure she appreciates it. So I've gone ahead and cut one of the ends off. I'm gonna cut them both off because the mild steel end caps have definitely forge welded to the inner material. But I just wanted to show you that, like, you know, listen to that. That baby's gonna come right out of there, so stainless steel tubing for the win. So I'm forging this thing out into a bar. It's going pretty good. As you can see, there's some surface cracking on the corners in a couple of places. That's really pretty common with canister Damascus, and it's not a problem. So what I usually do is just after a heat, I'll run it over, hot grind it on the belts a little bit so the cracks can't travel, and deal with them as I go. So there we go. After a little bit of trial and error and some missteps and this and that, we got a nice billet that's 9 inches long, 1.5 inches wide, 1/4 inch thick. So there's enough for a pretty good sized blade here. Not gonna lie, I am kind of underwhelmed with the pattern. There's not, I don't know what I was expecting. I've never made this before, but there's not as much going on as I thought there would be. I think next time I do this, I'll probably cut my Damascus scraps up smaller so there's less space for the powdered steel to go into, because there's just like large swaths of area on this piece of steel where there's just nothing going on. It's still cool, and I'll still use it for something. I really like the idea of, you know, making steel from your scraps. So there's something. But comment below, let me know what you want to see me turn this into. I don't really have anything special in mind, but that's all I got for you. If you like what you saw, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Always more cool stuff coming. Patrons, huge shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome. If you want to stay up to date with the day-to-day goings on here at the shop, Instagram is the best place. Links to all the social media down below. Etsy if you want to purchase any of my work, this, that, and the other. But that's all I got for you, and y'all take care.